In the tunnel.
In the tunnel.
In the tunnel. You're listening to In the Tunnel.
Hello and welcome to In the Tunnel, episode number 92.
Yes, 92, the episode where we jump past the rest of the 26 teams remaining that we had for potential interest for NFL season because it is now week 4.
Yeah.
We do this podcast monthly, it seems now.
No, this time the break was like, there's a lot of things going on in a personal life, so I really couldn't find the time.
Yeah, unlike the others.
So, yeah. We're just gonna kick it off, though, with the NFL. We want to talk about the newest team on the block.
Yeah, the Kraken. And we wanted to bring to the attention the averageness of their preseason play and what exactly does that mean for them as a team this season. Sean and I both are of the belief that, even after the moves that they made in the free agency period, that they're still probably not offensively gifted enough to go
No way,
really
dude.
anywhere. And add to this graphic that we have where they beat Vancouver 5-3, then they lost 6-0 to Edmonton. They won versus Calgary
In a shootout.
4-3. Yeah. And then beat Edmonton in overtime 2-1. And then add to that yesterday's loss of 4-1 to the Flames. So what is telling here is if their goaltending can keep them in a game, is their best chance to win.
Yeah, I mean, if the goaltending doesn't show up there, they're done.
This is a team that plays playoff hockey right off the bat.
Yeah. And, like, the other thing is, like, the disparity they had with going 5-3 against Vancouver and then 2 days later just getting shut out 6-0 in your first 2 games. I know you're trying a lot of players
Right,
and
you're
trying to
putting
figure
in
stuff
different
out, but that's
yeah,
not a good turnaround.
and you're playing different goalies. Likely, you're not playing your number one goalie, but we still don't know who the number one solidified goalie is.
Yeah, but
Seattle.
also Edmonton is on, like, you have to understand, Edmonton's not really playing all their best, players either.
Yeah, and so to get shut out because hockey's weird because like it's not like the NBA where like in the preseason you can start a guy for like 5 minutes and then just take him out and not put him back in because you still need to have 4 lines going.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like you're dressing and putting 40 guys on the bench.
Right.
So whoever's playing is playing, which means, yeah, you might have some star power from, the McDavid line, but like likely you're just not going to see them in most of these games.
Yeah, like, those players don't need to really fight for their spot, so they might have a few shifts, but that's about it.
Oh, I do want to say real quick, kudos to Seattle and the Kraken for not playing their preseason home games in their new arena. Because like I think that one of the biggest dumb things in sports is if you're going to open up a new arena for the first game to be preseason and essentially meaningless, then flash forward to the regular season and make it a big hoopla. Is like, no, you opened the doors to the place a month ago for the meaningless shit. Like, just
Fair enough. Fair enough.
like if you're not going to, do it at the practice facility, yeah, you might lose some revenue, but come on, it's preseason. You weren't going to sell it out. And then the Flames can make it to your practice facility, just as you could, and then just go from there when the season starts.
Yeah. All right. So then next thing we want to look at is um ESPN is picking up coverage of the NHL, as you can see here.
ESPN and Turner Media.
Yeah, and Turner Media.
And we're gonna get into what we think of how this move is for the NHL. And for me, it's unfortunately the thing is we're in an age where everything is needed through the internet, and that's kind of where NBC was lacking because they never really promoted their web content versions of things. Even the Olympics, whatever they were broadcasting, they didn't do enough football to ever market it that way because they only had the one game of the week.
Mm-hmm.
And so NBC kind of uses a more traditional approach. The
Right.
problem with that is that's not where demand is for a consumer anymore.
Nope.
And so what I think is good about this is it opens the door because NHL was on ESPN Plus in some capacity last year, but that didn't really mean anything. But now you have multiple ESPN networks, and obviously not going to go on ESPNU, but having ESPN, ESPN2, maybe even ABC is
I
a
mean,
big boost.
also like their online platform is still pretty decent. Like I've been able to navigate it the times that I needed to.
Yeah, and I navigate your login when I need to as well.
So, yeah, like hopefully being able to see these games online is a lot easier going forward. But yeah, what we really wanted to see is what's the coverage going to look like?
Right, and let me just say one more thing, and that is, ESPN is at a point where, financially speaking, they're not doing good. They're losing a lot of money. They've had to do mass layoffs of people a lot. But the thing is, you know, you still have TV packages in every house, which means that anybody who watches sports, whether it be through like a Roku stick, through like an Xfinity app or a cable box, whatever it is, ESPN is still like the first sports channel they're going to flip to. And that's going to drive ratings up just
Yep.
in that 15 average quarter hour block. And that'll do big things for the NHL. And I
Yeah.
think Turner will do that too because Turner has the association with the NBA, with college basketball. So I think that these are big stepping stones for the NHL. I don't know if the NHL, when they signed the dotted line, is getting as much monetarily as they were getting out of NBC, but they were also extremely desperate when they signed with NBC.
Yep.
So,
All right. Well, yeah. So on to the coverage. So for the ESPN, few names that stand out. Like you basically got their entire NHL, analysts back. So like Barry Melrose and Mark Messier.
yeah,
Um,
and you know what? I'm in one of the minority that thinks that Barry Melrose doesn't tell me anything that I don't know.
yeah, no,
Um,
but he's the staple there. Back when they just got
he's
rid
the
of the whole
staple
department, they
there,
rehired the whole department.
right? But he's was the staple there in the sense that he was the one there.
Yeah,
And that's pretty much it. Like John Buccigross, who was a sports center anchor, was phenomenal for hockey because he actually cared. And outside of hockey, built a Twitter following about college hockey and the Bucci overtime challenge. If you ever heard of that, was about like tweeting a guy from each team of a game that was going to overtime, and if you were right, you had a chance of winning free merch. And he grew the game through social platforms, which should be done. I think Barry Melrose is too much of a throwback,
yeah,
but
but
I do. Go ahead.
I mean, like the rest of the lineup, it's like whatever. You have Kevin Weeks, he's been on NHL Network.
Mhm.
gonna be whatever. I don't know,
I mean,
like none of the other names really stand out to me.
well, Sean McDonough in the middle row there.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if you remember. He was the guy who got swiped out of doing Monday Night Football a few weeks ago. Because or not weeks, years ago. Problem with him doing Monday Night Football was he was not a big enough name because it wasn't the John Gruden, it wasn't
Yeah.
the Peyton Manning or whatever. But he did good. It's just it was a cast around him that wasn't very good. So for Monday Night Football, they just decided to change everything instead of changing around him. So he got a year or two of Monday Night Football exposure, then got to leave. Now he's doing college football, but what I see from that is that's probably one of your more experienced play-by-play guys.
But that also shows he hasn't done NHL play by play.
As far as we know, we
Yeah,
could be wrong on.
so like that's my point is that like you have like some the analysts are okay. Like Melrose is an analyst. He's gonna reiterate points we already know, but he can talk hockey, right? Messier is the same thing. Weeks he'll be fine. They can talk hockey.
Linda Cohn is going to be an interesting one because she's a Sports Center anchor, and I think more.
But she's only a host, so she just
Right,
gotta throw around some buzzwords, man.
right. I was going to say like, and obviously I can't read every line of the graphic from
Yeah.
here either, but
Yeah.
those
So
are the
like
ones I know. So
I,
imagine the ones I don't.
I mean, I'm just like a lot of this lineup is good, but I'm more worried about like what's the play-by-play gonna feel like, right?
Well,
Like,
my worry also is, and this is not to take anything away from the people who are on this grid, this list. But I feel like when I look at this, ESPN, for all the hockey coverage and content that they did not give us for years and years, kept a lot of the hiring for this team or a lot of the announcement of this team in house.
yeah,
They didn't really go out and get talent, which is different than Turner, which we'll see in a second.
hmm
But this was the opportunity. If you're going to grab, you have to grab because that talent isn't going to want to drop their contracts later.
yep. All right, yeah. So let's take a look at Turner now.
Yeah,
Um,
so for studio analysts, you get Wayne Gretzky, which is far better than
I
hockey
mean,
operations analyst Wayne Gretzky.
you literally like look Gretzky, and then you get Rick Tocchet. I'm like, I like those names. I think they can analyze really well.
I think they could too. I've never seen Rick Tocchet in that space, but
But
I
he's a
know when he's
coach, though, so
trust me as a Penguins fan, I know he was a coach. He was a coach here.
yeah,
He's the Phil Kessel whisperer.
yeah,
I know. I know.
yeah.
I know.
But like, that's my point. Is like just those two names out of the studio analysts, and like you're like, all right, well, Wayne Gretzky is Wayne Gretzky, and Rick Tocchet, he was a coach, so they should be able to carry and
Yeah, but by that same vein, Wayne Gretzky is Wayne Gretzky, but they said Wayne Gretzky is Wayne Gretzky. That's why he'd be a great coach, and it didn't.
That's
work.
not how it
Wayne
works.
Gretzky is Wayne Gretzky. He's a great hockey mind. He'd be great in the front office. Didn't work.
Didn't work. No, but all he has to do
Wayne
here is
Gretzky
talk
is
about
Wayne
what he's
Gretzky.
seeing on a screen, man.
Right, but Wayne Gretzky is Wayne Gretzky. But if he doesn't give a shit, then Wayne Gretzky doesn't give a shit is Wayne Gretzky that doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. Anyway,
Now, I'd like to see Wayne Gretzky and Paul Bissonnette in the room because Paul Bissonnette is going to be he's going to be like the Charles Barkley on inside the NBA, but for hockey. Paul Bissonnette, when he's doing his Spittin' Chicklets podcast, is completely unfiltered and talking about the things he did with women back in his playing career. Now, that with Wayne Gretzky is going to create lots of great content that will grow the game in a way that nobody really understood that they needed to see.
yeah. Okay. Anyway, aside from that, your other in-game analysts are Olszek and Pang. Olszek should be fine.
Eddie Olczyk?
Yeah.
So the rest of this is just the NBC cash grab
Yeah,
because Pierre McGuire took a role in the Senators organization, I believe.
thank God.
So Liam McHugh, Eddie Olczyk, Kenny Albert, and Keith Jones all were on that NBC
Yeah,
team. And those are the ones I know. Brendan Burke, I believe, also was.
I think he was too.
But Darren Pang sounds new to me.
Pang's new, but like Olszak, Keith Jones, Liam McHugh, it's
I
like
swear to God, though, if I hear more shit about Olczyk talking about horses than hockey, because that was the big NBC thing. NBC was like, "Well, we run the races. Let's have Eddie Olczyk talk." I was like, "This guy coached the Penguins. I don't give two shits." No wonder why he fucking couldn't take the Penguins to the playoffs. He was too busy looking at ponies.
oh yeah, but I mean that just shows like they went out, they got the NBC crew basically, and they got some good studio analysts.
Yes, they got the quality, but the thing is, they don't grow with the same old, same old.
Yeah, but
This
I
was
mean
this
you're
was a
basically
chance
looking
to-
at a pretty good in-game core of people, and then you
Yeah.
have the studio that's new, so hopefully that like grows.
Oh, it would be great if they just used the inside the NBA studio. The amount of shenanigans that go on there. I want to see Paul Bissonnette and Wayne Gretzky run to the big board like Shaq and Charles Barkley's fat ass doing the same thing.
All right. Anyway,
But anyway, this was the opportunity for both these families of networks to go and try to be innovative.
yep.
I don't think either one really did.
I mean, I don't know if they had to be innovative. I mean,
But you're trying to push for personalities that will grow the game.
right.
And instead, and I don't mean this to rhyme, they instead pursued personalities that will do the same.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
did the same as they ever did and will ever do.
Fair enough. But the other thing is like, I'm assuming ESPN gets more of the games anyway because what they have TNT and
ESPN and ESPN2.
yeah, but like
Maybe.
that's they only need like Turner just needs like the one.
But Turner also has True TV, which is basically just the Impractical Joker. So if they ever fucking want to mix that up and put anything else on, they could do that. Plus, TBS.
But I'm
which
just saying
does
like
base-
their crew has to be smaller anyway. So
I understand, but they also
ESPN
have
is probably going to get the more televised game. So if anybody had to go and innovate a little bit, I would have wanted ESPN to have done that because they have the more people anyway. Like these guys, they're probably not going to get the more highly rated game.
But they have an opportunity down the road too.
Yeah, and if they have to, if they expand their crew, hopefully they do something to innovate. But like,
Well, the way I see it, they have 2 games that they could broadcast on any night.
okay,
Albert
well, I
and
mean,
Olczyk,
with this, it looks
Burke
like they
and-
have one game.
No, because you're not gonna have 2 play-by-play guys with each other. It's
Oh, yeah.
play-by-play analyst, play-by-play analyst.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Okay, yeah. Anything else we want to talk about for the NHL?
No.
Okay.
I think we-
All right, so let's look at the MLB. Yeah, so we kind of skipped a month, so the playoffs are about to start.
We basically skipped the whole baseball season.
Yeah, I mean that too. But yeah, so right now there's a
That's part
potential
of the
for
Pirates.
there's a
Go ahead.
potential for a 4-way tie, right? Somewhere for a wild card spot or something.
I thought they said it tonight. I was too busy watching the Steelers lose. We'll get in on that later.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here. Yeah, I'm pulling it up now. It's going to be a Yankees. Okay, here we go. Here we go. We have the Giants got the 1 seed in the NL.
Yep.
And it's going to be the Dodgers. And of course, the Cardinals had to sneak in there, those glow greasy fucks.
Though they were going to be there anyway.
They were going to be there anyway, but the thing is they just they're just never out of the playoffs, and it pisses me off. And then you have the Brewers at number 2 and the Braves at number 3. Then
Yep.
you have Tampa Bay at number 1. You have the Yankees at 5 instead of 4 in
Yep.
this graphic, and the Red Sox at 4
Yep.
instead of 5. You have the Astros at 2 and the White Sox at 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like I mean, we kind of expected this anyway. Uh there was no like surprise on my end aside from how bad some teams did after the All-Star break, but we'll get to that.
Mhm.
Uh what do you think of these brackets?
I think it sets up really nicely for whoever is the 2 or 3 seed in the AL,
Mhm.
because I think that, not that the Yankees actually mean anything in the postseason, because they've proven over the past few years that they don't.
No.
But if the Yankees could take out the Red Sox, I feel like the Red Sox pose more of a threat. And then say one of those two has so much fight left over from that emotional series that they knock out Tampa Bay, then you have an easier walk to the World Series. Um, Now that being said, the 2 and 3 seeds are, in a bit of a tough jam themselves. So um, it's a little bit of a dilemma,
Yeah.
nonetheless.
What about the NL?
The NL, I think it actually sets up nicely for the Dodgers.
Yeah, like the Dodgers make it through the wild card game. I
Mhm.
think I think it's theirs to lose.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I just neither of those teams strikes me as being too threatening, whether
Yeah.
it be the 49ers or the Giants or the Cardinals.
49ers, dude.
Hey, I'm close enough. It's football season. It's not
Yeah.
baseball season.
And the only other thing we want to talk about is there are rumors about an expanded playoff format for at least 2022 and beyond.
Yeah,
Um
would be nice.
I think the MLB kind of needs it,
It does. The thing is,
but I also
they
think that their season just goes on too long anyway.
right, that's what I was going to say. You can't have a playoff that follows the same rule eventually, because right now what happens is the wild card is no longer one game, it's 3 game
Yeah.
series. The problem with that then becomes you have to re-implement the one game somewhere if you're going to have a 14-team playoff, because otherwise you're going to have baseball
Well,
going
no,
into December.
I think they were saying they'll just give the one seed overall a free pass for the first round.
Isn't that what there is now?
No, no. So right now the wild card brings you into the 4 teams, right? So instead of having a 16 team playoff, they'll have a 14-team playoff
No,
with
but the wild card is still a playoff team, so that's a round.
it doesn't matter. Then the 2 and
No,
3
it
seed get a
does.
free pass too, right? If you say the wild card is a round, then the 1, 2, 3 seed gets a free pass from the wild card round, and your logic still makes no sense.
You mean the MLB's logic makes no
No,
sense,
yours.
but the MLB is doing the same thing as me.
That's why it's your logic. Anyway, so
So I run baseball, is what you're saying.
I mean, who else could come up with this convoluted of a system?
I would be the one who creates a system so mind-boggling and head-spinning that I ended up being wrong.
Anyway, so like if they
I
do,
made a pros and cons list, and I've made sure that the pros vastly outnumber the cons. The only con is this really big one.
but so if they do a 14-team playoff, well, I think it's a good idea. I just don't know like how they gonna seed everything, right? Are they gonna take 1, 2, 3 from the top and take like 5 wildcard teams? Are they gonna take the top two from
Uh,
each division and then
it
take
has
two
to be.
wildcard teams still, or one wildcard team?
I think that you have to have the meat and potatoes in the middle of the pack. The middle of the pack playing each other, kind of like an NFL, or not NFL, NHL, NBA playoff series would be fun.
Yeah. All right.
That's kind of what the wild card is now, though. or the 2-3s
I
and
mean,
the 4-5s instead of the 1-5. But the thing is, it's baseball, so like that kind of unknown is just always going to be there.
hmm. I mean, yeah, when this wildcard thing was one game, I absolutely disliked it. I was like,
Yeah, you think I was happy about the Pirates getting sent home on a wild card after having a like 98 win years for like 3 straight years?
yeah. So, I mean, I think it's a step in the right direction if they do like a 14 team playoff, because then at least like everybody plays a series and hopefully a more meaningful series. But yeah. Anyway, on to what we really wanted to talk about.
Oh yeah, this is the funniest time of the year. The time where Mets fans are disappointed,
Crying.
which well, they're crying, but not really because they start crying basically the day after opening day because they all just live in like this state
Purgatory.
of purgatory and dementia where like winning doesn't exist. And so just to see them like up, how many games was that the All-Star game?
There
They were up
were 4
8 games over
games over
500.
Philly.
No, over 500.
Oh, yeah.
8?
Yeah, there were 8 games over 500.
All right. Pretty good for them considering
They ended
the
16
years.
games. They ended what, 6 games under? Sorry.
6 games under. Yep.
6.
You gotta love it. You spent for Lindor. You got Javi Baez. Sell the farm a little bit. Still got no bullpen. Got a new owner. Same front office that can't keep their hands off other people, which is a little bit weird that the state of New York just appoints people to high ranking positions who just touch other people involuntarily. So I don't know. It
I
seems to be
mean,
more of a qualification
at
for
least
leadership roles.
at least they weren't alone this time.
As far as we know. Um,
I mean, if you look at the Padres, they had it worse, right? They were 13 games over 500.
well, the thing about the Padres, yes, they were 13 games over 500, but the Padres had the telltale signs of a team that would crumble in the sense that they were overconfident, and I don't know why I'm pointing with my hand when it's not on camera. They were overconfident. Fuck, I'm gonna get this. They were overconfident because of all the swag. They had high rated players that made a lot of mistakes because as great as Tatis is at hitting the ball, he can't fucking field one to save his life. I was telling a buddy this. Fernando Tatis Jr. had, when I checked this out like a week ago, 23 errors in the field.
Yep.
Just to let you know, Pedro Alvarez, who threw the ball into like the crowd from third base almost every week, had like the same amount of errors every year when he was with the Pirates. And they eventually moved him to first base, and they eventually moved Tatis to the outfield, and he still had errors. Alvarez ain't in the league no more, and the fact that he could hit a ball far was never the fucking issue of why he wasn't in the league. So all I'm gonna say is they paid a lot of money for a guy who can't do shit outside of hitting the ball. They overpaid, and so their bullpen was all washed. Mark Melancon was good a time ago, but he's not good now. Jake Arrieta was good a time ago, but he's not good now. The thing is, you're giving roles to guys who are not good now.
Yep.
And then the final straw is they whiffed on trade deadline moves. Their biggest trade deadline acquisition was Adam Frazier from the Pirates. And while he wasn't hitting the same in San Diego, they were about to bring in Trey Turner and Max Scherzer.
Yep.
But LA swooped them at the last second.
What are you gonna do?
So this is how you end up in a state of, as you put with the Mets, purgatory.
Yeah, I mean, their fall was worse though, right? Because they were 13 games over. They ended 6, or was it 4 games or 6 games under? I don't even know. So that's like a 19 game swing. The Mets only had like a 14 game swing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But you know what? The Mets fans never allowed the Mets to think that they were hot shit. The Padres would, I feel like, act aggressively ignore the fans who would tell them or try to humble them and just be like, nah, we got this.
Yeah. Well, if you're a Mets or Padres fan and wondered where it all went wrong, just blame the All-Star break.
Yeah. Blame that thing that rewards you for doing half of a season's work.
Yep. All right. Let's move on to the NFL now.
Sure.
So,
The NFL, where my fantasy team is yet to win a game because the NFL is the NFL and nothing is ever right.
yeah, so we're currently fourth week.
Yeah, so week four was today for the most part, but we don't update the ratings because they make us sad, except for Sean, whose Giants actually won today.
Yeah, actually one dude. Wait, what? I want to update the ratings.
Yeah, and guess what? Somebody had New Orleans -7
Oh.
for
Uh.
all the weeks of you guys to get this shit together.
Anyway, aside from the Giants' terrible start to the season, finally winning a game, um, the New England and Tampa game going on right now.
We don't have the rights to this song.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I think like I'm kind of surprised since Cincinnati's three
Oh
one.
no, I'm not surprised if, although I'm surprised that the Steelers aren't 0-4 because I went to that Cincinnati Steelers game. Holy shit, are the Steelers bad? Like, I almost texted you it's Gonzaga rant time on the drive home after the game today. This team is fucking clueless. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. The coaching staff goes to the press conference every week and says, well, we're just going to stick to our same game plan. Oh, the game plan that netted you 40 yards running and 200 yards passing is like, you do understand that you have to score points to win. This isn't closest to the pin in golf. This isn't some stupid fucking shit where like it's like, oh, the closer to zero, the better we are. No, it's not. You actually have to put up points. Ben Roethlisberger, you had a good career. You're going to the Hall of Fame. It's time for you to get in the limousine and take you out to the rivers because you're done. You're cooked. It's over. I don't give a shit. I hate Mason Rudolph, but it's time for that noodle-headed fuck to get back in the game and see what we got. Our offensive line, who can't block a fucking crayon at the Crayola factory from coming in. It's just fucking ridiculous how bad this team is. The defense, they invested so much in a great defense. Thank God they re-signed TJ Watt because the fact of the matter is everybody else with a brain is going to leave. Bud Dupree already fucking did, and rightfully so, because he probably saw this shit coming. It probably had nothing to do with the money. It was just, dear God, get walked up and down like a fucking dog. Jesus Christ.
All right, well, let's turn our attention away from the AFC North.
Oh right, we have to talk about other teams.
Yeah. So, why don't we look at Las Vegas and Denver?
The Patriots are beating the Buccaneers right now.
Yeah.
7-3.
So why don't we look at the AFC West, where I don't know. I think the teams are kind of behaving as expected. I don't know about Kansas City though.
Mhm.
Uh,
Well, Kansas City is falsified because they lost because of some clutch Justin Tucker shit or Ravens win.
yep.
They lost because of some gimme, clutch shit. They haven't really lost by, anything other than a team with luck in the last minute of
Okay.
the fourth quarter.
All right. So what team do you want to talk about then?
Well, I think it's interesting that the AFC East is back in this state of flux that it once was when the almighty Patriots ran the shit. Because now it's like 3-1, and then everybody's just crap again. Tua fucking sucked. And maybe it's good that he had a rib injury, and nobody wishes injury on anybody. But like, why is it that lefty quarterbacks just aren't good?
I don't know.
It just always looks like they're throwing the ball weird. It's amazing because righty quarterbacks apparently have this panoramic ability to throw across any angle of the field without cornerbacks jumping all over. But as soon as a lefty does the same thing, like if a lefty tries to throw to the right, it's just automatic trying to jump the ball.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of expected the AFC East just to be that crap show that it is.
I thought that
Um,
Zach Wilson was going to be a little bit better than what he's turned out to be
yeah,
because the dude just seems like he's a gamer. Like he gave me the same vibes that Baker Mayfield gave when he was coming out of Oklahoma. And a lot of people were like, Baker Mayfield is Johnny Manziel 2.0. And I'm like, nah, Mayfield is confident enough that he can take a bad situation and make it good. He wants the challenge. And I think Zach Wilson wants the challenge and can do great things. But Mayfield never had the 4 interception game.
Hmm.
You just can't have that. Honestly, if you're in the AFC East and you have a rookie quarterback and you're not the Patriots, you should have an exemption from having to play against Bill Belichick twice a year. Because if you want to be successful, you kind of have to learn how to
yep.
to grow, and that dude is just going to stand in the way every time. It's amazing Josh Allen ever got to where he was. They probably strategically deployed him after Bills Patriots games.
Yep. All right. Any standouts for this list? Any?
Yeah, the Cardinals now are 4-0. We have
Yep.
3-0 on here, and a drubbing of the Rams, might have said. Put up 37 on that Rams defense is no small task.
Yep.
So they're doing it without Larry Fitzgerald, obviously an older Larry Fitzgerald, but still a leadership Fitzgerald nonetheless. Um, Kyler seems like he's taking a big step forward, and their defense doesn't appear to be too bad.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're doing really well.
Yeah,
So
I mean, and then San Francisco's always kind of lingering there. We might be seeing the start of the fall of Seattle. I think they won today, but they're going to be 2-2.
yeah.
And just in that division, this just all might be enough. Unless San Francisco, because
I mean,
at this rate, San Francisco is going to get so injured, just like last year, to where they're going to eventually fall out of the category of being able to win games. And then Seattle might be able to jump into the playoff picture.
yep. We'll see.
But
But I don't know
otherwise,
if Arizona and LA kind of keep up what they were doing to win. Like I don't know if you can see Seattle or San Fran
well,
take the
right now,
spot.
every team that isn't a grade out would be a playoff team. So as of right now, or as of Saturday, I should say, um, for playoff teams, it would be 3 of those teams making the playoff.
Right.
Unless the NFC East wants to get shit together and everybody else fall behind, and we can have that fucking train wreck of like cattle pronging every team. Somebody fucking just get across the line.
Yeah. All right. Let's take a look at some players, right? So
Sure.
we're looking at fantasy leaders for PPR. So I'm just gonna come out and say it. If you drafted Derrick Henry, good for you. Otherwise,
Hey, holy
kind of
shit!
sucks.
He had another 167 yards today.
Yep.
Tyreek Hill's going to show up on this list next week because the dude had 3 touchdowns and 180 yards receiving today.
Mm-hmm.
So kudos to me.
But
I
yeah,
might
the
actually win
only
this week. I might actually win this week. Miles Gaskin got me 0.3 points. DJ Chark's out for the season and I'm in my starting lineup. But I might actually win this week.
yeah, but like as far as like running backs go, which are generally your first pick, right? You only have Derrick Henry and Aaron Jones on this list.
Yeah, it's been a crap year for running backs.
Yeah,
They
so
haven't really done much.
kind of sucks. Very QB heavy, but that's kind of expected.
It is, but Cooper Cup being the number one surprised me a little bit.
That's a little surprising.
Because I get Matt Stafford was a slinger, but like Jared Goff wasn't incompetent. And so, like, Cooper Cup wasn't a Pro Bowl wide receiver without Jared Goff when he first got into the league. Like, we all knew what Cooper
No,
Cup
but I
was,
think
but they're taking it
Stafford
to
likes the
another
longer
level.
throws anyway.
Yeah, but there's not always the longer throws because it's PPR. He's like last week, he was just getting his head on the ball like 14
I mean,
times.
what other receiver would you target in?
Robert Woods is on that same team. Tyler Higbee is on that same team.
Apparently, Cooper Cup it is though.
Wait, they're all good targets, is what I'm trying to drive at.
Yeah. Yeah, but aside from that, like it's QB
Mike
heavy, kind of
Williams.
expected. Only tight
Mike
end on this
Williams
list is
really high,
Kelsey.
though. Mike Williams is high. Mike Williams, I feel like when he was drafted to the Chargers out of Clemson, was like the big target. He's going to do big things. He was like a top 10 pick. And so, like, I think the hype was around him for him to be what he is now, but kind of took a few years for him to get there. I think this is year 4 for him.
Yep.
So, like, for him to be there now is a little surprising.
Yeah, I mean it's good
enough-
for him though.
Yeah, but I think enough people probably have written him off by now.
But also with how Seattle's doing, I'm kind of surprised that Tyler Lockett's in there.
Yeah, but you know, with DK Metcalf on the other side of the ball, that's another reason why it's a little surprising too.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you want to talk about?
Nope, not really. I got my rant out of the way.
Yes, you did. That's another clip. All right. Well, thanks so much for tuning in and catch you next time.